If you think this is some type of circus, you are wrong. This is just one of the many examples of how Russia is becoming the new North Korea. We have collected compelling evidence that Tyrant Putin is resurrecting the Soviet Union. And he started with total militarization. For Russia, military power is the same as national pride. That's why you see SEALs in uniform, kids in the military, and car rallies with Soviet flags in support of the war in Ukraine. The Russian command is really bad at managing their 900,000 men army, so they need to raise their martial spirit in cheesy ways. But if the Russians, God forbid, doubt the strength of the Russian army, then propaganda will come to the rescue. All mass media in Russia is controlled by the government. Liberal media has been shut down, so everything the Russian public sees now is strictly controlled. Just imagine holding a small white sheet of paper in the street of your city. Would anything happen to you? Of course not. But if you try this in Russia, you will be arrested. Like here. That's insane. And yet, in the midst of this Russian world of propaganda, one lady was brave enough to interrupt a news broadcast with the words, "Stop the war. No to war." And she held a poster that said, "This channel lies to you." Marina Olsyanikova is a true hero, someone who was not afraid to speak out in a country of total censorship. And when you have both the army and the media in your hands, you already start getting imperialist ambitions. Have a look at this. Putin is holding a meeting with the French President Macron. Do you notice anything? Yes, the table. Tyrant Putin wants to dominate and make Macron feel the imperial power, and yet he is afraid to sit close to his counterpart. And what about here? Putin talks to his ministers in exactly the same way. And now have a look at Ukraine's President Zelensky, holding a press conference with journalists during the war. He brought his chair over to the journalists and sat down with them like they were equals. That's what I call a president of a democratic country. Putin thinks only in terms of the past and does not think about the future, climate or sustainability. All he wants to do is revive the Russian Empire, and this concerns not only Ukraine but the whole world. Because after Ukraine, Putin will totally go further to NATO countries, and it would mean the start of the Third World War. And I'm not even talking about the Ukrainian nuclear power plants that have been seized by the Russians, because if anything happens to them, the whole world will be affected, even worse than after Chernobyl. Religion in Russia has nothing to do with faith in God. It is just another tool to manipulate people. Head of the Russian Orthodox Church Patriarch Kirill said that the reason why the war is going on in Ukraine is because people there don't want to hold gay parades. Here's the quote. "Demands to hold a gay parade are a test of loyalty to that most powerful Western world. And the Russian church knows how hard it was during the Soviet era, but they keep supporting what is happening now. Those who were born in the USSR still remember life without basic food, clothes, services, and overseas travel. They stood in lines to get to the first McDonald's in Moscow in 1990. And right now, that reality is coming back. Russians have started fighting in stores over sugar. They were actually lucky to at least have something to fight for, because in this store, shelves are totally empty. This is the country that Putin has been preparing for a long time. But the worst thing is that he isn't only making his people live in such conditions, but he is also killing innocent Ukrainian people and destroying whole cities. Internally, he wants to maintain his own power. Externally, he wants Russia to regain the status the Soviet Union had before its collapse. He feels that he's the only person with the will and strength to accomplish this. Putin is a threat to the whole world because he will not stop with Ukraine. The world must support Ukraine. Close the sky. Keep pressing their governments to make Putin stop the war.